So in the previous video I talked about the weird grey areas that exist between like the legal uses for consoles handholds and the illegal uses and how you can somehow exist it in between the two. And in this one I'm going to attempt to suggest some solutions to this, and while it doesn't deal with piracy directly, it does indirectly, I believe, which I'll hopefully explain at the end. Hopefully I won't forget too many points because I've already had one shot at recording this, and like an idiot I closed the program before it's quite finished and ruined the entire thing. So hopefully this one will work out just as well. But in my opinion, there's quite a few things already. There seems to be signs over the past couple of years that we are moving, well, the manufacturers are moving in a sort of right direction. I mean, take the Xbox. When that first came out, that wasn't strictly region locked. Obviously, the DVD player itself was, because DVDs are, but unless it's a region zero, but yeah. But that they opted to let the publishers decide whether they wanted to region lock a game or not. It wasn't a strict thing with the system, which I believe has continued with the 360. Handhelds have previously always been region locked. They seem to be going in a different direction. Um, but HD DVDs as well as Blu-rays. I mean, I know HD DVD is a dead technology now, but I invested in it. I have a fair collection of the dead format. But both of these were region free as well, which I think is a fantastic step forward, because I can if there's like a difference in release dates, or if it works out cheaper, which it often does, since I live in the UK, I can have it sent from America, and it will have no issues working with my system, which is a fantastic thing. And part of the reasons why the consoles I do have modified have that, so I'm able to import, which I still don't get why these big multinational corporations have a problem with. I mean, that was a huge thing with Sony, and I think it was a company called Lixang that I had used a couple of times before. I mean, they had some dodgy dealings going on anyway, but and a knock-on effect of that seemed to be that there's pretty much nowhere that will send Sony products from either Japan or America to like the European Union and some of the Scandinavian states. And it just seems like a ridiculous thing, because at the end of the day, especially with their online stores, which is another thing, like they have these brilliant online stores, and when it gets to this point where it's just credit card, you don't know for sure, because I know people who've gone to the lengths of having more than one PS3 or Xbox so they can have online accounts for different regions. And at the end of the day, when you can't identify exactly where like these are from, like they'll just believe like this person is from Brazil or something like that. When it gets to that point and you're paying with either the code vouchers, which is another issue that I'll come on to in a minute, um, and you're paying with credit cards, then surely it doesn't really matter anymore, like what currency it's in, like what region it's from. Surely you should be able to just access, like, as a default, go to, since I'm in the UK, like the UK/European store. That I don't have a problem with, but give me the option to be able to visit and see, like, have an import corner or something, have something along those lines, because it's all data on the internet. It doesn't cost any more to be able to give me access to these. Surely it's not that mad. But like I said, speaking of points cards, I made the mistake of well, I was trying to find the cheapest deal on Amazon for some points cards, because I wanted to download the New Monkey Island games on the Wii, because my PC, this laptop, isn't quite good enough to run them. Despite, well, I've already bought it on the PC, but I can't run it, so I was going to buy them again on the Wii. So I bought these two points cards, and I didn't check the Amazon Marketplace seller well enough, and they're American. They're American points cards. And the incredibly stupid thing is, well, despite the fact these are 2,000 points each, these cards, and despite the fact that in each region, as far as I am aware, I think there might be a slight difference in Japan, but I wasn't interested in that. Like, the prices are the same in points in both America and Europe. I haven't come across any differences between them. Not that I followed the releases that closely yet, because these are from America, and after it gave me an error code, I did notice it has like a little USA code at the end. They have region locked their points, which is absolutely completely ridiculous, and it's things like this that make me, well, I haven't modified any of my current generation consoles, but it, it's stuff like this that makes me want to do stuff like that make me want to go beyond the general acceptable rule. And yeah, I really don't see in this day and age why they have to do it. I mean, surely there are better ways to track, like, what's selling how much in the different regions. Surely you can, well, each credit card has like a mailing address. Okay, it could potentially, and surely you can just go on that. Surely there's some way of automating tracking that, rather than having to give us just a one region store. Because, well, like I said, surely it doesn't cost that much, but it's slow progress. It's a step in the right direction, and another good aspect that has come to light in the past couple of years is I'm pretty sure they have something on the PSN store, but my PS3 is basically a DVD player at the moment. I've even though I've got things like Little Big Planet, I haven't, for whatever reason, felt the urge to play games on it lately. I don't know why, but for that reason, I don't know on the PSN store. But Microsoft introduced the community games section to the Xbox Live Arcade store, and well, it had some teething problems at first, and prices were a bit high. That has now been changed, so I think the chargeable prices. I'm going on American because that's the podcast it's an American podcast I listen to that I get most of my news from. I think it's like $1, $2, and $5 that they're able to charge for games, rather than I think it was each double those. Like I think it was like 2, 4, and 8. He had to charge for the games before, which was for some of the output obviously reasonable, but for some of the dross that's on there, like, it's completely wrong. But being able to have access to stuff like that if it's just like 60p, like in the equivalent UK money, it's nothing. I mean, I buy a newspaper every day and they're 30p each. It's so, like, I miss 2 days of a newspaper, I can get a new game on. I can get new, like, community game or something like that. I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, it's at the end of the day not that much. It's a ridiculous amount. But while I'm pretty sure I missed some stuff out that I talked about last time, thanks to my stupidity, um, I've hopefully made sense, at least a lot more than my videos I put up yesterday that I've now taken down. But yeah, these aren't solutions necessarily directly to piracy, but if we're at least able to find some way of unblurring these lines that I myself exist between, that the people who have had to modify consoles just to be able to get the games they want to get legally. Like, I spent a fortune on some of the games I've imported over the years, like San Domingo. But yeah, if we're able to do that and eventually get to the point where the only reason to have a modified console, like the only reason you could have for doing something like that, is for illegal reasons, then it's again heading in the right direction, and would indirectly help a lot of people, because I know people who would start out like doing these things for legitimate reasons, and eventually through laziness, changing situations, whatever, could cross the line and go illegal. But yeah, that's me done, because the 10 minutes again is almost up. So hopefully I actually made sense.